Okay, I'm going to do a quick rundown of this build on this ZMR 250 race quad I have here. This has 20 amp ESCs, and how you wire those wired straight on. I unsoldered the wire connections and set them straight onto the motor. Wired straight on, they go reverse. And then you cross one of the wires here and it goes clockwise. So clockwise is reverse and counterclockwise is straight. So that's how you solder those on. I just crossed one of these wires right here on the ESC. Powered it right to the board on my power distribution board. And then I had two wires plugged into the models are my Acro NAZE 32 Rev 6. They only got two wires, so you had to power middle wire to do power the whole board up. So it has a signal and ground on the ESCs, and you have to run a middle power going to your servos there. I have a camera mounted on here, 600 TVL Sony, and okay, we're gonna go over that's a Acro, and I have a Spektrum DX8. So a little bit different programming on this. I have a Cleanflight here, and when I plug this in, you want to make sure your receiver is turned on. It'll go into auto connect, and you can see I move it around front to front there. To set up your receiver, you have to go to ports. You have to have on ORT1 UART1 you have data on, and then the other one you have to have serial X. You have to have that on to configure your Spektrum satellite before you go to your configuration. And you have to hit save every time you change something on this Cleanflight. So I have motor stops activated, so when you start it, that the motors don't turn on, you don't get hurt. I have the battery. Turn on the voltage. You can keep your voltage on there and it'll send an alarm when the voltage gets too low. Current meter. Okay. You also have to have, okay, going down to receiver mode here, you have to have RX serial. And then the Spektrum 2048, because I am running the DSMX 22. So that's the one you use for Spektrum. And you hit save on that when you get done. Save and reboot down here in the corner. Current monitoring, I have that on. Okay, fail safe, I have that set on here. I have them all set on hold, so it holds the receiver. This is a tricky part. You have to have the TAER123 set on your receiver for the Spektrum. And you go down here and you click on this one here, the old Spektrum right there. Okay, and as we move it, you can see they all move. And you have to make sure that you go into receiver and set those up to where the mid throttle and everything is in 50%, right there at 1500. When you're right at mid, everything wants to be at 1500. You check all your switches, make sure they all work. You have to make sure that you can go all the way down, your throttle goes all the way down to 1000 and all the way up to 2000. All your parameters on your roll, pitch, and yaw and throttle have to be 1000 and 2000. If you do not have it set in 1000 and 2000, it will not start. It will not engage your motors or run. You have to do that all on your receiver, not on the program. In the modes, I have arm. I have the switch arm on here. The arm it to turn it on, so if it gets fly away. I got angle and horizon set up on there for my flight modes, and I also have a beeper set up on there. Go down here and you can set up beeper. Okay, you got head free, mag, air mode, borrow, horizon, angle, all those modes. I have angle and horizon on there. You can add one of the other ones if you have switches for that. Motors, you can come down here to set your servos. You have to turn this off right here where it says turn it off so you don't have your props on. Make sure you don't have any props on. Turn your master all the way up, and then when you plug in your battery into your quad, it'll make a beeping noise. When it makes that beeping noise, you slide this all the way down, and then your servos will all be in sync. So that's how you set your servos up. So okay, sensors, I didn't set any of this, the LED strips up. It has light on that configuration, you know, we went over that. The ports, okay, and just make sure you have serial RX on there. And once you can calibrate your accelerometer and your meg meter, and it says so up here at the top. You just want to make sure it's on a level surface, calibrate it. I haven't done anything with the PID tuning yet because I have not started to fly this quad yet. The main deal I had was trying to link this Spektrum satellite up with, you see the Spektrum is down in there and it's beeping. You see my receiver in there. I got the race receiver for that. You want to make sure you have your receiver or your remote turned on before you power this up, or it will start to go into bind mode. If it goes into bind mode, you know, you have to hit the trigger on the back, get your trigger up here for your bind, and turn your remote on, and then it will automatically bind with this race receiver here. I did not have to go in to the CLI and type that in. If you go into the CLI, you can type that in down here. Bind Spektrum satellite and what channel you're going to need. I think this one is channel 8, and so that's how that goes. My big thing, like I said, was getting my receiver to work with this Spektrum satellite. I did have a Flip 32 I used and had the same problem, so I changed out boards and got this new Rev 6. Everything works on this. We'll take it out and fly it here in a little bit.